I've spent over a decade building my businesses and investments from nothing to millions, and I've experienced firsthand these 5 money beliefs that have slowed me down making more money, and how I consistently focus on trying to not fall into these traps. Number 1, playing someone else's game. Our human instinct is to draw judgment on things through analogy, rather than thinking things through via first principles. So what most of us do is we'll look at what other people are doing or what's working for other people or companies and use those examples as points of reference for what will work well for us now or in the future. But it isn't only confined to how we draw judgment from others, but also how we draw judgment from our own experiences. So I might do things a certain way because I always have, rather than because it's actually the best thing for me to do. That might all sound a bit confusing, but in reality, what we all tend to do is take a skin deep look at things to attempt to understand or decide if we should do something or not, when in reality, I want to make sure I apply thinking via first principles. First principles thinking is a problem-solving and decision-making approach that involves breaking down complex problems into their most fundamental and basic components or principles. The idea is to analyze and understand these foundational elements, avoiding assumptions and preconceived notions. By focusing on the fundamental truths, we can build new, innovative solutions from the ground up. Why is this so important to me? Because it encourages me to build a deep understanding of why I should do something, or why my businesses should do something, or what I should invest in, by breaking these things down into the basics and trying to apply an unbiased conclusion, what makes the most sense, rather than just copying what other people do. I don't want to play someone else's game. I want to play my game. Number 2, not investing in your biggest asset. The United Nations Development Programme claims that 6 in 7 people worldwide are plagued by feelings of insecurity. Our minds are without doubt our biggest assets, yet it is our minds collectively that are experiencing the biggest issues in our ever-changing world. We feed our bodies with food and water, and it is equally important to feed our minds with knowledge and learning. Investing in learning and developing is the equivalent to a builder wanting to invest in a digger rather than digging foundations with a spade. I don't know what I don't know at the end of the day, and that's why I allocate at least 25 minutes a day, every day, to reading educational content. So things like, biographies of people I admire, or books on marketing, business, and mindset, and you would be shocked how quickly you knock back the books if you consistently spend a small amount of time every day. Number 3, thinking like the future will be like the past. The problem with thinking the future will be like the past is from time to time, something will occur that is outside the range of what is normally expected. We call these events tail events. So examples of tail events more recently are things like the Russia-Ukraine war, the pandemic, Brexit, the global financial crash, 9/11, the list goes on. No one would have reasonably forecast those things to have happened at the time based on what had happened in the past. But yet, these events happened and have had significant impacts on the world and the decisions that people like you and me, businesses, countries have all had to make as a result. So I'm not saying we shouldn't look at the past to help form objectives for the future, but I've always got in the back of my mind that the one thing we should all be 100% sure on is something's going to happen we don't expect. And so you always want to make sure that you're prepared for the unexpected. Number 4, be who you want to be. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, you are probably bored to death of a quote I love from Charles Horton Cooley, an American sociologist at the start of the 20th century. He said, "I am not who you think I am. I'm not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am." I focus on spending my life with the intention of not falling into this trap. I really focus hard on being and building the person I want to be, the life I want to have around me, the life I want deep down. When you think about it, a lot of your life will be based around trying to conform with what your family expect from you, or your friends expect from you, or what a teacher might have said to you years ago on what you can do or can't do. Be who you want to be, and that is a lot harder than it sounds. And finally, number 5, not addressing bad habits. Now, we all understand how valuable compounding is when it comes to investing, but yet we can often forget that not addressing bad habits is allowing these seemingly small negative behaviors to snowball and accumulate over time to more significant and even harmful consequences. Compounding, in this sense, is working against our personal well-being. So a great example is about 25% of the UK are obese, about 40% of Americans are obese. This demonstrates just how hard it is for us to address bad habits for the majority of us. But there will be so many other areas in our lives where bad habits exist. I'm not going to sit here and list all the bad habits to watch out for, because that's ultimately a very personal thing to you and me. But right now, sit down and write all the things you do at least once a week that you think you shouldn't, and all the things that you want to do on a daily or weekly basis that you're not doing. And there's your answer. See you in the next video.